Did they make
No,
contact?
no. It's pretty close, but this is going to be a drag race.
Right
Look at
there,
this.
moves
Wow.
him to win it. Carl Edwards bump and dump and run.
Here comes Gordon right up to the bumper again. The bump and run.
There it is.
And Maine really turned around, meant to Reilly's cage up.
Yeah, welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I am your host, Michael D. White, joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Eric Daytona Ron. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a a Chase Elliott type of weekend because he was the big winner down at Pocono Raceway without even leading a lap all race. We'll get into that real soon, but first make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends. Video available every Tuesday morning on YouTube, except for special occasions like this. We were at Pocono this weekend, so we needed a little day to recover, so you'll be watching this Wednesday morning, audio dropping right after we finish recording today, Tuesday night. Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon, iTunes Music, iHeartRadio, all that jazz. You can find us at Bump the Letter N Run Pod on Twitter, bumpandrunpod.com. Fellas, how the hell are you? Daytona Ron, Eric, I see you survived. I left you in the infield with a handful of beers left on Sunday, and you go, I'm in it for the long haul, and a storm was brewing. Did the storm hit the infield like I thought it was going to?
It looked like we were about to get just like lifted right up off of the earth and just sent it to oblivion. But
yeah.
It missed us. It sprinkled a little bit, got a little windy and scary, but it did blow by and allowed the campfire to resume, and the rest of those beers you gave me, Whitey, I appreciate it.
No problem.
They all got kicked. So it was a wild, I would say, like 2 hours after the race ended with the weather. It went from beautiful to like, everyone panicked in the infield, like, it's about to go down. So no, we didn't get hit. So that was a good thing, but I was prepared for it. With the buzz on.
I remember Matt texted us like, boys, big storm blowing through. I guess like we got hit real bad in the valley up here up north from Pocono. And it was right at the race was ending. So me, our buddy Shredder, my girlfriend were all running through the tunnel because I still had some stuff to tear down that I didn't finish before the race because I was running late to get to the race as usual. And we get out of the tunnel and we had to stop because the red M&M was walking around. So we had to get a picture with him as the storm clouds were rolling in. But we got our camp all torn down and loaded up real quick.
And from my perspective, I wasn't at the race this weekend, got some things going on that I had to stick around home for. But where the three of us live, for everyone who's not in our area, we're about 35, 40 miles northwest-ish of the track.
Yeah.
And on the NBC coverage, they were talking about the storm. There's a storm rolling in. Like, they don't know if they're going to be able to get the whole
They showed all
race in.
that red storm cover on the map.
The storm came over where we live, and it hit, like, the winds were awful. Like, a tree blew down out in front of the house. Like, it was bad for about 20, 25 minutes, and then it blew through, but it was heading towards the track. So, like, I'm like, oh my God, like it's going to be close, but it's good to hear that it didn't hit you guys. Obviously, it didn't affect the end of the race. And for once, a cup race at Pocono wasn't affected by weather.
No, I was super glad that we got the whole thing in, saw the laps, unlike Friday at the ARCA race, but just a great weekend overall. Matt, do you want to?
What?
What's up?
To start the weekend, I knew from this moment, it was going to be one of the best Pocono weekends that I've ever been a part of, that the sport has ever put on, and the racing that we were parked
in the morning
registration line at 8:30 in the morning, waiting to get in there on Thursday. And what do we see fly over? A bald eagle, baby. And when you see a bald eagle soaring over Pocono, baby, it was like the trophy was floating around already, waiting to be freaking handed out. It was awesome.
Yeah, we saw a couple bald eagles flying around later on in the day as we were setting up our buddy Dirt, who we met in early. He's the one who pointed out the bald eagle in the registration line. He kept seeing two of them kind of like battling each other in the air all day long and stuff. So yeah, just a great omen for the weekend. Unfortunately, I do have to admit, I tapped out. I left the track on Saturday during the Xfinity race. I had to go home and get like a regular night's sleep in a bed and get a nice hot and then cool shower in the morning. But it got me raring to go for Sunday. Got back down to the track. I couldn't believe the amount of traffic going towards the track at like 11 o'clock in the morning. It was jammed all the way back to the highway, like a solid 6 mile backup, 2 lanes of traffic going in. It felt awesome. I never felt so happy to sit in traffic because I knew the crowd that was going to be there on Sunday, and just an amazing crowd in general. Matt, how did it look on television?
Amazing. It made me so proud. You know, it made me a little sad that for the first time in, I don't know, my whole life, I wasn't a part of that crowd or part of that infield. But I was just so proud of the area. And I think it's kind of a byproduct of probably only having the one race. I know the last couple of years, we've only had the one weekend with multiple races. But even then, I think some people came up on Saturday, some people came up on Sunday. So it wasn't one full crowd like it was this weekend. It was amazing. And, you know, they said it a million times during the broadcast too. The infield was packed, the stands were packed, and made me super proud of our area. And, you know, I know there's been rumors, I guess you want to say. I don't think any substantial rumors, but rumors that maybe Pocono might lose the date eventually down the road. You know, they trimmed us down from 2 to 1, and that was just a slow burn to eventually get it off the schedule altogether. There's no way, like Northeastern Pennsylvania forced the hand of NASCAR and said, I dare you to take us off the schedule, because everyone showed up. It was awesome to see. So, just super proud of our home track.
And that's the thing, too. We're smack dab in the middle of 2 major markets, New York City and Philadelphia, too. So, like you're getting those crowds coming to the Poconos. And I saw a whole lot of New York plates, saw a whole lot of out-of-state plates, saw Nebraska, saw all over the place. So, just a really great weekend down there. Eric, you have any stories to tell? Like, I don't know. I don't want to get
there's some that you probably can't tell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, I thought we had a great weekend overall.
Yeah, I mean, most of the stories I'd probably rather just put on anonymous on Dale Jr.'s Twitter post that he had about Pocono Raceway, and he tagged Talladega. Talladega, normally after their races, they have a long thread on Twitter of all the crazy, stories that happen in the infield and camping and everything. And I thought it was pretty funny that Dale Jr., he noticed that all the campers in the infield, and he's like, man, those campers were really getting after it. I want to hear some of these crazy stories. And if you check that out and scroll underneath there, maybe you could pick out which one may or may not be old Daytona Ron.
I do want to say something now. Now, we've never been to the infield of Talladega. That will change at some point in our lifetimes. We will absolutely get down there. Eric, specifically me and you, we've been in the infield of Daytona for what, 10 years, almost 10 years, or of Pocono for about 10 years now.
Oh, easy.
I don't know how crazy Talladega is. It's obviously got this crazy, legendary status, the infield of Talladega. I am willing to put the infield of Pocono up there with Talladega. It is
1,000%. 1,000%.
Amazing.
People all weekend were just getting after it. I go up on Thursday morning, and by noon on Thursday morning, there was the most campers I've ever seen on a Thursday.
Yeah.
By Friday and Saturday, I'm like, man, if you're coming in here on Saturday or hope to come in on Sunday to the infield, you're going to be in trouble, because it was full. It was so packed. I've never seen, usually over near turn 1, they kind of keep some spots open for just the Sunday guys come in, park them here, leave, so they don't allow campers. Nope, there was not a blade of grass that was open on that infield, which was impressive.
No, even Dave Moody on Saturday, I believe, tweeted, he's like, this is the most campers I've ever seen in the infield on a Saturday. Just everyone really showing up. It really made me feel proud to be a Pocono native. But do you guys want to jump into the NASCAR news and kind of get the whole show rolling here?
Let's go.
Oh, let's go. A lot to talk about, baby.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about.
Tons to talk about. So where we left you last week, they officially announced the Chicago Street Course for 2023. Unfortunately, Road America will be off the schedule. And that does make me nervous because they also did show up 100,000 plus the last 2 years. But also they had a very short-term deal to begin with. They only had a 2-year deal. So I'm hoping that's not indicative of what could happen with Pocono. I think we've seen some great racing the last couple of years at Pocono.
I think the one major thing that we have to kind of back us up as far as the track, the Pocono track, is that it's Xfinity's home track being out of Philadelphia. So I don't think it's going anywhere. And then with Road America, just real quick, I know Ben Kennedy came out and said just because it's not on the schedule for 2023 doesn't mean it's not going to come back on the Cup schedule at a later year. It's just not on for next year. It's not a permanent thing.
And we'll kind of get into that a little later on with the pickle lanes to have a topic to talk about in the pickle lanes that I think might be interesting to mull over there. Let's see. Another piece of news, something I've been critical of the last couple of weeks. 23XI is looking to hire their own pit crews for 2023 season. What do you guys think about this news? I think it is exactly what they need to do over there.
I think from a business standpoint.
My bad, Matt.
No, go ahead.
I just think it's a direct reaction to signing Tyler Reddick. I think the fans, you as well, Whitey, had criticized. That was one of your biggest things, with that announcement. Oh, what's going to happen? That team is kind of struggling with personnel and, the whole switching back and forth stuff. So you must be pretty happy to see that Denny's going to, hire on his own and kind of get that. I wouldn't call it a huge issue or a problem, but, they got that squared away, and that's got to make you and Tyler Reddick happy for the future.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. It's just one of those small things that shows the commitment to improving the team as a whole. Like every person's important to raising the ship up, and the pit crews, I feel like the most important some weeks. So how about you, Matt? I feel like you're going to echo those sentiments too.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think from a business standpoint, it's one of the smartest things Denny has done with 23XI, because at this point, they're getting the 5th and 6th best teams out of the Joe Gibbs Racing stable as far as pit crews go. And that's not necessarily fair to the drivers, to the teams there, where I know, I don't think the way now I don't have any inside information, but from my understanding is it's just a rental. Denny and 23XI, they're just renting those pit crews.
Yeah, they lease them out.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I don't think that they're even being paid by Denny. I think they're still being paid by Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah.
Where now Denny's going to have to pay these guys. It's an investment into a better product on race day is essentially what it's going to be. So I think it's smart.
No, I definitely agree. I think it's the way to make the moves. And apparently, like, I didn't realize, when 23XI started, they didn't even have their own shop to work out of and stuff. And apparently they still don't, but like they're in the process of building all that infrastructure. So it kind of makes me hopeful as a Reddick fan, moving forward, like, oh, they are, looking to improve in every way they can. So it definitely puts my mind at ease a little bit. Something that probably didn't put Eric's mind at ease down in Pocono. Petty GMS, both cars penalized for rocker box event holes. Both teams lost 35 driver points and 35 owner points and had their crew chiefs ejected. Now, this will lead to another story in just a few, but apparently, the way I heard the rocker boxes described, the vent holes, they could put a mesh on there. And apparently they used some mesh that wasn't approved by NASCAR, and that's kind of what they got popped for. So it wasn't like what we saw with Brad Keselowski and modifying that back bumper, where like they did something in a clear violation, but they kind of violated like a little bit. So
it just wasn't as egregious as some of the others. Yeah.
So it seems like it was a more of a just an oversight type deal where they kind of just they went lenient on him. Someone they did not go lenient on, and Matt broke this news to us right before the podcast started. Michael McDowell has been penalized. His car was taken to the R&D center after the Pocono race, and he had another great top 10 finish for Michael McDowell. Apparently his car got busted for something similar that we'll get to with the winner of the race, Denny. Some body modifications. They got busted for using body fillers. He lost 100 driver points, 100 owner points. His crew chief's been ejected for 4 weeks and fined $100,000. So pretty much and 10 playoff points have been stripped of him. So basically the same exact repercussions that we saw Brad Keselowski and RFK get busted for how many months back with their whole deal. So it looks like maybe what we've seen in this Pocono race, some of the crew chiefs and the crews are getting a little ballsy when it comes to seeing what envelopes they could push, and NASCAR's dropping that long dick of the law on them once again. What do you guys think about the penalties handed down for those teams, Petty GMS and of course Michael McDowell's team?
Well, to start the Petty GMS stuff, at this point in the season, those points, they don't really mean much. He's like 189 back from, the cutoff line. Like, he's in win to get in. I mean, points at the end, maybe to get that one spot from someone else to either end the season 18th or 17th, big deal there. He needs to win to get in. I actually like the fact that he got busted. I love teams when they get hit with some things like this, because that means they're trying. They are trying to do whatever they can to win. And what is on the horizon, boys?
Road course and Daytona.
Playoff.
Yeah.
Playoff. These crew chiefs, this is why we're seeing this. The playoffs are around the corner.
Yep.
They want the advantage. They're trying to do whatever they can to gain an advantage on their competitors. And, Eric Jones needs to win. Hey, let's try something crazy. Michael McDowell, why not? We're running well. Best season of his whole entire career. Why not try something crazy? Hey, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin. Hey, you go to the playoffs. If you get away with it at Pocono, hey, maybe you could use this little trick up your sleeve later on in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just so happens that the officials, they caught every single one of them that, tried to kind of do something a little bit different and mess with that gray area. But I kind of like when teams do that. They're going to have to. With this next-gen car and the parts and the vendors, everyone being the same, you got to get creative somehow. And sometimes you get burned by it, but other times you could win. I'm sure there was other cars out there that had modifications.
Oh, absolutely.
They had a good race and we didn't get caught. Great, let's move forward. But as far as the whole thing with McDowell and Jones, the point, I don't think anything matters playoff
at
wise.
this point.
At this point, if this was earlier and they still maybe had a shot, maybe if they were 16th or 17th with not 189 or 150, if there's 40 points, something like that would make it a little bit more detrimental. But as of right now, it just sucks for him, Michael McDowell, and that 34 team, because of the great season that they were having. I still don't think it tarnishes it. I still give him full. He's having a great year, but you have to try. That's my perspective. You have to try. You're right there. What could you do to find that little bit to get you over the edge and in victory lane? And they got nabbed.
Oh yeah, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And like you, I do love seeing the innovation, pushing the envelopes and stuff. But I'm also really pumped that NASCAR's sticking to their guns this year. They said they were going to. And they are. They're being serious. They're not fucking around, and I kind of appreciate that. What do you think, Matt?
I agree with everything Eric said. I just one thing that I wanted to add is, I like seeing a team like Furniture Row. Listen to me, Front Row, trying to push that envelope, trying to get all they can out of that car, and trying to get away with some things. They're having a hell of a year right now. I think that the unfortunate part of it is they got caught, and then the byproduct is they're setting themselves up for a doomsday scenario where, listen, we've got how many, 5?
Yeah,
5
races.
Regular season races left.
Yep.
We've got the Indy Road Course this weekend. We've got Watkins Glen in a couple weeks, and then of course the regular season finale at Daytona. That's 3 more opportunities to get 3 new winners.
We also have Michigan and Richmond. So
Right, sure, but
You
they're
know?
more of a, they're less of a wild card than those
Yeah.
three that I mentioned.
But like, I'm just saying, like, Michael McDowell's been running pretty well at like mile and a halves and stuff like that. You know, he could have a good day
But
on
my
a
larger
2
point
miler,
is,
you know?
he has a real good chance of winning one of those three wild card races, we'll call them, where if we actually do get 3 new winners out of those races, that puts us at 17 total winners. And if Michael McDowell is one of those winners, he's out because of this points deduction. True. So I know a lot of stuff has to happen in order for that crazy scenario to play out, but it's not out of the realm of possibility to see something like that happen. And then we're just going to come right back to today where this huge penalty got handed out to them, and it could be detrimental. It could be a season-ending penalty for them.
No,
he's great on road courses, and he won Daytona, so he's still got his eyes wide open and eyeing one of those checkered flags for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a real interesting couple of weeks here in the NASCAR season, especially once we get to Daytona and
I can't wait.
Regular season finale.
For the rest of the year,
for Daytona.
Yeah,
the rest of the regular season is going to be amazing, and then the playoffs are going to be fireworks show.
Except for Richmond coming up in like 3 weeks. That's
boo Richmond,
boo Richmond. Looking at Daytona Ron's t-shirt, Kurt Busch, he wrecked during qualifying at Pocono. He was out because of concussion protocols. I haven't heard if he'll be cleared by the weekend for Indy, but apparently this seems to be like kind of a compounding injury where he's had a couple big hits lately, and it just seems to be getting worse. Something it was interesting. I was reading about it. I forget where exactly, probably somewhere on Twitter, earlier in the week, how the cars, the side impacts aren't really that bad. Like Austin Dillon had a pretty nasty wreck a couple weeks ago where he hit the driver's side of his car, and he goes, like, it looked really bad, didn't even hurt. And they said some of the worst hits this year was when they would back the car's tail end into the fence, kind of like what Kurt did during his qualifying run. And just something about the back impact really jostles the drivers, and they can't really figure out why yet. They're trying to figure out some data to kind of corroborate what's going on here. And it seems like he might have gotten a concussion because of it. Kind of makes me nervous about these new cars. They seem to be pretty safe, except for that one area. Just wondering if you guys had kind of heard the same thing that I did, or noticed some of these bad impacts from the rear.
Yeah, I heard all the same stuff you just said. It's unfortunate. It's a byproduct of having a brand new car and trying to work out all the kinks in real time while there's real competition going on. So I know, probably the rest of this season, we're just going to have to, it's easy for me to say I don't have to drive these cars, but we're just going to have to deal with it. Right. And then I'm sure it'll be one of the main points of interest for NASCAR in the off season.
Yeah. And
I'll tell you what, I got this shirt because I felt bad. I'm like, damn, I go, Kurt Busch doesn't get to race. I'll get a t-shirt to support him. I always love seeing Kurt Busch out there on the racetrack.
There you go. That's what it's all about, man. Supporting those drivers, especially the ones that I remember when we went to Daytona the one year. You got a Jimmy Johnson shirt because you're like,
yep.
Oh, this might be his last year, or it was going into his last year. You got to respect these guys while they're still around. But speaking of, we've talked a lot about penalties, and we got a big old elephant in the room. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, both disqualified running 1 and 2 at Pocono in post-race tech inspection. NASCAR found a piece of tape underneath the vinyl wrap that they did not like, and apparently is a very thick piece of tape. I was listening to Door Bumper Clear, which usually, it's funny, a lot of times our podcast mimics Door Bumper Clear when I'll listen to them later on in the week, and we record on the same day. So like, we don't hear each other. This week I actually did get to hear about it, and Freddie Kraft kind of told what the type of tape was. It was a very thick tape, so they were definitely trying to gain an advantage there. It was found during post-race tech inspection. A lot of people are like, well, why didn't they find it in pre-race inspection? Well, it was because it was underneath the vinyl wrap, and they're not going to remove the wrap from every car. In fact, they only removed the wrap from the top 3 cars that finish. And
Larry
then,
McReynolds made a really good point about that on Monday's show on his SiriusXM show on NASCAR radio.
yeah.
And it's a valid question. Hey, why don't they catch these things before
Oh, yeah,
the race?
absolutely.
Super fair question for everyone to ask. But the easy answer is because, like you said, Whitey, they're taking the wrap off post race. They're breaking the car literally down. They can't do that to 36 cars leading up to the race.
No.
Because if they did, as Larry McReynolds said on his show, if they did that, they would have had to get the cars to the Indy road course like Monday in order to have all that time to break them down and make sure that they were. So it's just logistically it's impossible for them to catch everything on a car before a race. But that's why they inspect it after the race.
I don't know. I'm in the camp where I think it's bullshit that you pass and you get on the racetrack clean and they don't find something like that. I think that is, if it was that detrimental, they go through that OSS scan and they find some real minute things that are wrong with it. The weight, all that stuff. Like, how didn't that scanner, that template that they come down over the car, like that should have been something that scanner, that laser scan system that they have, how didn't that pick up the body modification beforehand? It should have. They have to pinpoint all these things for it to fit. If it was that big of a piece of tape, like, I think it should have gotten caught. And, like, in my eyes, too, if you make it through pre-race inspection with zero things and then post-race they find something, does Denny keep – I think Denny should – keep the win. I understand it, but like it rubs me the wrong way because they'll find like 100,000 shaved off of a camshaft pre-race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like they don't find that. You know what I mean? It's like maybe the scan is in certain areas and not others, but like, man, I don't like the look of it. That you allowed the car on the racetrack. NASCAR allowed that car to go compete.
Yeah.
It wins the race, and now it says, nope. We don't like that. You're disqualified. Your win doesn't count. I get it. I get all the you want to be factual, the whole Dave Moody way of nope, this is what it is. Rules is rules. I get that, but it's still I could still feel like it's wrong. And it doesn't sit right with me that, hey, NASCAR, you're in charge of saying if this car is allowed on that racetrack or not, and you allowed it on that racetrack. To me, I just get it weird. It just rubs me the wrong way. I understand it. I accept it. But I still just do not agree and like the feeling or the taste it leaves in my mouth afterward.
So I don't know if it's a good rebuttal to that, but the way I understand the laser scanning, there is little things you can do to trick the system. And right now I'm holding a Tyler Reddick diecast in my hand, right? It looks pretty innocuous. You wouldn't even think anything's wrong with it. I've never seen this like substantiated, but the rumor is that RCR will color the A post a different color than the rest of the body to throw off that laser scanning. If you look at a lot of the RCR paint schemes, especially on Austin Dillon, it'll be like an all black car with an orange A post. And it's just little minute things that they could do with the wrap to throw off the laser scanning system. And supposedly what the tape under the wrap did was it took the harsh edges of the front fascia, and it evened them out. It smoothed them out.
It softens it too, so it cuts. So the car cuts through the air cleaner.
Yeah. So maybe it's one of those things that maybe the laser didn't catch it because it was within those tolerances, but it's still on track and in practice could have made a difference. And that's the thing. Nobody knows for sure if that tape did make a difference or not.
They weren't even, Whitey, I even listened to door bumper clear too. And I always want to, give sources out when I can. So it's not out of our mouths, just so people don't, accuse us of stealing stuff. But they even said too, like, there's even, the possibility of teams looking at different thicknesses of the wrap itself.
Oh, yeah.
To make different types of advantages. So, like, teams are looking at every little thing to get an advantage.
The way they layer things.
That a little piece of tape on the front fascia is going to give them a little bit of advantage. They went for it, they tried it, and they got busted. They probably had 5 other things wrong with that car, too. That's just the one that got caught.
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying is I just don't like the fact that NASCAR looked and okayed the car. You know what I mean? That's what's bothering me. They okayed it to go out on the racetrack. In that moment, that car is good and clean to go out on the racetrack. Now, during the race, if they did anything, bump the car like they used to, kick in, pull out the fenders. Now you're changing something during the race that changed everything. Now in post-race, oh, I see you did something during the race. You did something.
Yeah.
That's what I like post-race for. What did you do during the race that caused you to get an advantage that we couldn't check during the pre-race? You cleared that car to go. Now, afterward, they didn't do anything during the race. So guess what? They raced a car that NASCAR said you could go out there with. That's why it rubs me the wrong way. I don't care what you do to the car, what little things. It's just the fact that NASCAR allowed that car. They passed it out there. So once NASCAR passes it, I feel like they shouldn't go back for anything pre-race. Anything you've done during the race, then you nail them for the post-race inspection for that stuff. But if they cleared the pre-race, hey, that's on you, NASCAR. You fucked up and missed that. You missed it during that inspection. So I don't know. Man, this kills me because it just takes away from such an interesting story that we had. And that it gave my race grade. I talked about that, and that's what's irritating. We haven't talked about fucking stuff since 2019, 2018, and it's like I don't want to talk about this bullshit. You know?
No, it makes for a shitty Monday, Tuesday to talk about drama like this. My whole point is though, the laser scanning is not perfect, though. That's the whole thing. There's ways to get around it. There's ways to trick it. And a lot of penalties we see, it goes back to the Bubba Wallace docuseries on Netflix, Race with Bubba Wallace. There's a scene that really fucking blew my mind where they were at the track and they failed pre-race inspection twice. And they did nothing different to the car, and it passed on the third run. It just goes to show you how imperfect
and that exactly
the lasers
right there is
are.
why it pisses me off.
You know?
It irritates me because guess what? Maybe it did have an effect. Maybe it didn't.
Well,
if you pass a guy and say you're good to go out on the racetrack, you're good to go out on the racetrack.
But that's why
if you missed it, NASCAR. Then you fucked up.
But that's why they do post-race, because it's way more invasive, where they rip apart the engine, make sure the engine block wasn't fucked with.
That's the irritating part.
Well, yeah, they do the top
five. If you're gonna make everyone go through pre-race, right? Yeah. Everyone's got to go through pre-race. Not everyone has to go through post-race. That's fucked up. Then you either you can't do it. If you pass pre, then you're good to go. You can't get in trouble for anything that happened there because NASCAR, you missed it.
Okay.
I don't know. I just think that's where you just basically validated me in a way.
But the only rebuttal to that I would have, Eric, and you probably have the voice of the majority of the fans.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to pick a side either way because I absolutely see both ways. The only rebuttal that I would have to that is that from the time, okay, so you go through pre-race inspection. These guys are in the garage, working on the car, getting it ready, getting it race ready, getting it qualifying ready. Who's to say that one of these guys isn't modifying something in between pre-race inspection and when that car actually gets out there? You know what I mean?
Well, they have officials walking around the cars at all times, checking them and eye on them at 24 hours while they're in the garage. There's officials walking around that garage all day with them.
I mean,
and you know what? I still think, and not that we can move on, but I just think if NASCAR, you clear them on the racetrack, says your car is valid, end of story.
Right.
Here's the thing, though. At the same time, it's just as easy. Don't put the piece of tape there. Follow the rule book, dummy, and you won't get busted for breaking the rules.
All right, Dave Moody.
I'm just saying. It's it's as simple as that. I mean, it's impossible to let a crew chief do that.
Them's the rules.
Them's the rules. And one more piece of news. Again, it's a story we've been following very closely because it does affect Daytona Ron's driver. Eric Jones is apparently really close to signing a long-term deal with Petty GMS. Now, Eric, you were talking about this beforehand, where Maury Gallagher wants to sign him long-term, but then a little ruffle in the whole situation. Speaking of Kyle Busch, who just got disqualified, he doesn't have a contract for next year. Supposedly, Gene Haas, Stuart Haas Racing, was at Pocono for the first time at NASCAR race in a long time. And we're hearing rumors Eric Almirola might stay in the 10 car next year. Maybe Cole Custer's on the chopping block. You know, I gave him my records last week in general for just being a bust right now. And I said, like, I don't think Cole Custer's going anywhere because his father is high up in Stewart-Haas. But I don't know. Maybe he is on the chopping block. Maybe Eric Jones is the hot prospect. What do you think about all that going on? Who do you guys think is the more likely candidate? Kyle Busch or Eric Jones?
Well, I think as of right now, with what has happened, and especially that video after Pocono when the old ball coach went up to him, and that was just a awkward little pat on the arm, and Kyle didn't even acknowledge it. It's not going well. So I would assume that Kyle going to that 41 Stewart-Haas is probably more valid than Eric Jones is, because I think Eric, he says he wants to stay there. He's wanted to stay there. They're just trying to work it out. And, you know, he wants that long-term deal. So whether or not he would get a long-term deal at Stewart-Haas or not, I mean, he would be the cheaper guy if Stewart-Haas wants to go that way. But apparently Stewart-Haas has the money. So Kyle to the 41 car, to me, seems more valid than Eric Jones does. I wouldn't mind it either way, but I am still leaning with wanting him to stay in the 43 and build and bring that 43 back to prominence. Yeah. And, you know, 20 years down the road, we could be talking about, hey, you know, remember that Richard Petty 43? What happened to that? Oh, it's resurgence. It didn't come back into, you know, the mainstay top 5, top 10 until Eric Jones took over that 43 car. Yeah. I would love that storyline for me, for him. That would be cool. But also, what a kick if he does go over and leaves Toyota and goes over to Stewart-Haas there. That would be another big deal, not only in the Cup team side, but for a manufacturer side of it. If Kyle Busch leaves Toyota, I mean, he's been with Toyota, you know, for how many years now? His truck team, he runs Toyota there too. So I think the behind the scenes of a lot of this might be manufacturer based too. Are manufacturers throwing the bag at Kyle Busch, wanting him? Okay, he wins, you know, Toyota trucks championships all the time. Maybe someone wants, like Chevy wants to win a truck championship to sell a little bit more Silverados, or maybe Ford wants Kyle Busch to change his truck team to Ford to get the blue oval, you know, a couple truck championships. So maybe it's not just sponsors and the team. Maybe there's a little bit of manufacturer pull back and forth with this whole deal as well.
I guarantee there is, because we already heard TRD wants to keep Kyle Busch as long as they can. But again, you know, you start dropping bags of money in people's laps, and things change real quick too. So who knows what can happen?
That's what I mean. If Eric Jones gets a bag and he's like, okay, yeah, I like where I'm at. I like to build where I'm at, but oh man, like how could this a life-changing bag, you know, you're going to take it, you know? Yeah. So
the problem with the whole Kyle Busch thing is from everything that I'm hearing from all accounts is that, like, Joe Gibbs is working with them, and like they've found sponsors to get on board, but it's just apparently not enough money for what Kyle wants. And Kyle's been saying, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. And he's, from what it seems like from, you know, obviously the outside looking in, is that it's Kyle who's playing hardball here, not Joe Gibbs, not Toyota.
Every right. He has every right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. He is a top 5, 6, or 7 all-time talent in NASCAR.
Right. Yeah.
And he has every right to do that. You know, he's a 2-time champion. He's got the most wins between all 3 series in NASCAR history. The only thing that's coming back to bite him in the ass, and it's bit him in the ass his entire career, is his attitude. And some teams, some sponsors aren't going to attach their name to it. And then you see something like the brief clip that we saw on pit road after the race at Pocono, where Joe Gibbs walks up to him to have a conversation with him, and Kyle Busch literally just gives him the cold shoulder, doesn't talk to him, doesn't look at him, just kind of poo-poos him. Like, dude, listen, Kyle, you're the talent. You've done it all. But, like, Joe Gibbs has also made you a very rich man. He's been very kind to you over the past, decade and a half or however long he's been with Joe Gibbs Racing. So people see that, and, like, people are watching. Sponsors are watching. They see that, and they don't want to attach their name to it. So has Kyle come a long way since his Hendrick Motorsports days in the early decade of 2000. Sure, he's come a long way, but in some ways he hasn't. And his attitude, it seems like right now, is going to bite him in the ass. I don't think we're in a scenario where there's going to be a Cup Series without Kyle Busch. I don't think, like you guys said, if the 41 is open for him, they're going to do Tony Stewart's probably going to do whatever it takes to, Tony Stewart ruffled feathers. Do you think he cares what other people think? Gene Haas has been known to throw his own name on the 41 car if he needs to, if they can't get enough sponsors. So that would make the most sense to me if Kyle isn't with JGR. And as each passing day goes, it's becoming more and more likely that Kyle Busch is out at JGR. And I cannot believe I'm saying that. You flash back to a month ago, 2 months ago, and my mind would be blown.
It's like you're thinking, not a prayer.
So the fact that we're even having this conversation is just asinine, and it's becoming more and more of reality that, listen, Kyle Busch ain't going to be in that 18 next year.
And Tony ain't a slouch either. He knows exactly what he'd get in Kyle Busch. Yep. And the minute that Tony Stewart realizes he has an opportunity to get Kyle Busch, I'm sure he's probably throwing in some of his own money from his own bank account saying, hey, here you go. Whatever it takes, I know what I'm going to get with Kyle Busch. And you know what? He's going to be selling T-shirts, all those. He'll tell Kyle Busch, hey, if he goes to Stewart Haas, we might get the most old school, do whatever you want, say whatever you want, Kyle Busch we've seen since the early 2000s. And I'm all here for it.
Especially because it was no secret that Tony Stewart wanted Kyle Larson in the worst way.
I was just about to say he already lost one Kyle. He's not going to lose a second. He
missed him. He missed out on the first Kyle. He's not going to miss out on the second Kyle if the second Kyle becomes available. So, and then you're right, Eric. It would be Looney Tunes with Kyle working for Tony. Maybe.
But then again, it's like okay. If Kyle goes to the 41 and Custer's out, and Almirola does retire, Eric Jones is still cheap as fuck. He might go over with Kyle, being ex-teammates. Kyle found Eric Jones at the Snowball Derby, brought him into Kyle's truck team. What if they bring both of them over, Kyle and Eric Jones, Kyle to the 41, Eric in the 10 car? They work well together. They've known each other since forever that Eric's been in the sport. You never know. Stewart Haas could be trying to build a crazy 4-car team right now.
And then you have Briscoe, and then that 4-car. Harvick's not going to be there forever.
Right.
You get a Zane Smith.
I love silly season. Oh, my God. I'm getting all
Zane Smith, or you get a Haley Deegan coming up that brings the marketing and the sponsors with her. Stewart Haas could be a organization in 3 or 4 years from now.
It was 90.
This sport, oh my God, we're growing. It's growing. It's getting wild. It's getting crazy. I'm loving being a part of this. This is, I got the goosebumps on my arms right now.
It was 90 degrees in Pocono this weekend, but silly season is even hotter. It's heating up in the summertime. But that's all I have for news. Big news week. But do you guys want to jump right into the race weekend? Truck race. Chandler Smith won the race, but Zane Smith, I wish they were like brothers or something, locked up the regular season championship. Unfortunately, me and Eric were watching the truck race on top of his truck from the infield, and then we had some drama with our friend Kevin and his girlfriend getting into the camping site. There was some security involved and whatnot. Our buddy Luke drew the heat on them, and they didn't have the right pass to have their car parked there or something. It was a big old mess. So we missed the end of the truck race, but up until about 10 laps to go, it was a really good one, I thought. What did you guys think? Matt, did you get to watch any of it at home?
I didn't. I was busy. Saturday early afternoon. So I did not get to watch. I followed along on my phone as much as possible while we got some stuff done around the house. But no, I didn't get to watch it.
The truck race was great. I wish that we could have saw a battle for the regular season title.
Yeah.
Zane had it locked up even before the race even started, and they battled great. And 10 to go. I remember turning back. Dana's like, my girl was, Eric, you might want to come down here. We got a situation. I go, of course. You got to get me involved with 10 laps to go. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Now I got to get down and get involved.
That's a direct quote. He said, "Oh, of course, gotta get me involved with 10 to go."
I don't know this story, and from the way it sounds, we're gonna have to tell it off air. So I can't wait to hear what happened.
No,
here.
it's not even that bad of a story. Here's the thing. So Kevin and his girlfriend were trying to find the campsite. Our buddy Luke went out to find them on his rollerblades. We're on rock gravel roads. I don't know why he thought that was a good idea. Anyways, he also thought it was a good idea to skitch on the side of the car and let Kevin drag him around.
I saw a Snapchat of that.
Yeah, what you didn't see was security flying right up on their ass and giving them a whole lot of shit about it. And then once they found the campsite, they really wanted to bust our balls about they only had the dash pass to go back and forth. They didn't have the camping pass to park their car in there, even though we had like 7 camping spots all next to each other. And we had cars parked on one side and then all of our stuff on the other. So it ended up being a nothing thing, but it didn't have to be anything if it wasn't for a little... I don't even know, a little
he drew attention. He drew the Heath's attention. You know what I mean? Yeah. You see some guy with a long beard and wearing all black when it's 90 with a pair of rollerblades on. If I'm security, I am going up to see what that guy's up to as well.
Yeah, that's a shady character. He had those big the big sun hats on and stuff. Really drawing attention to himself. Someone who also drew attention to himself in all the great ways was Noah Gragson during the Xfinity race. What a battle. He had such a fast car.
Won me over again. I'll probably shit on him in another 2 weeks and he'll win me over again. But after that weekend, he won me over once again. I am now back on the Noah Gregson fan wagon. Yeah,
me too. I'm all about it. Those battles for the lead, not only him and Ty, but him and Josh Berry, just everybody like fighting for the lead, made for such a fun Xfinity race. Probably the best Xfinity race I've seen all season. Although if you listen to this podcast, you know we miss a lot of the Xfinity races. But definitely one of the best Pocono races I've seen too. What did you think of it, Matt?
I made a scene. So
did you?
You guys,
what did you do?
You guys have been friends with me for a long time. You guys have been with me during sporting events, during races.
Yeah.
I wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to my emotions, especially during sporting events. We went to the Germania Hose Company Bazaar.
Oh, yeah, it's a great
Saturday,
one.
And
Get
I was checking my phone,
pancakes.
watching the race, and there was 10 to go, 5 to go, and I'm like, there's a bat. I'm seeing the data, and I'm seeing that Gibbs and Gregson are neck and neck. So I'm like, I gotta watch this. So I started streaming it on my phone in like the middle of this freaking bazaar, this Hose Company bazaar.
Yeah.
And that last lap was unbelievable where they're going back and forth. Gibbs passes Gregson. They make a little contact. Gregson passes him coming out of the tunnel turn. And I'm a junior motorsports fan, so of course I wanted Gregson to win. I'm in the middle of this bazaar with my 9-month pregnant wife, and I'm just yelling at my phone, "Go! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!" I'm like,
you should have grabbed a water bottle and squirted it underneath her legs, and everyone would have went really nuts.
Like, oh, she's going into labor.
It was a good ending to a race, though. There's a lady. I was wearing my Martin Truex Jr. shirt. There's a lady who's calling over to me like, "Hey, Martin Truex Jr., a big fan." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a Chase Elliott fan. I just have the shirt on."
Yeah.
She's like, "Are you going to the race?" I'm like, "Can't. My wife's 9 months pregnant," and it was just a thing. So it was funny. You guys would have laughed if you saw it.
No, that's hilarious. And then of course your guy you just mentioned him, Chase Elliott, did get the win, even though Denny Hamlin crossed first, Kyle Busch crossed second. And then Chase Elliott crossed the line in third. 3 hours, 15 minutes, 59 seconds. We saw 9 cautions for 37 laps. And I have to give a shout out to Shredder. Me and Shrey were sitting in the grandstands. And before the race even started, once the first caution flew, he goes, "We're going to see a ton of cautions in turn 3. I bet you we see 8 or 9 cautions." And he hit it on the nail. He hit 9 cautions right on the head. 15 lead changes among 10 different drivers. Our winner, Chase Elliott, not one of them. The original top 5, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, and Daniel Suarez. Bell and Larson moved up to round out the top 5. I I thought it was a great race. Do you guys want to jump into the race grades, or we'll do the race grades now? I think what I'm going to do, normally I go last. I think me and Eric should go first since we're at the race. And then I want to compare it to how you felt watching the race on television.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
Eric, what was your race grade for the Pocono weekend?
I gave this race an A-. It's typically higher than what I would give a normal race, but there was some circumstances why, like with the stats of this race, that kind of go up. Okay, 9 cautions, 37 laps, 15 lead changes amongst 9 drivers. That when those stats are there, that's usually a B+ race right there.
Yeah.
But this race had other circumstances that elevated it to that A-. That front stretch at Pocono elevates it number 1. That when they fan out diving into turn 1,
amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Then turn 2, they were all complaining the bumps in turn 2 were shuffling people up the racetrack. Cars would lose ton of momentum down that backstretch because of turn 2, the tunnels. They'd wash up because of the bumps. And then turn 3, we saw it in that Xfinity race, the back and forth. Oh, one got loose here, the other one got loose there. So there was just ton of passing. Eric Jones starting in the back and him having to come up through the field at Pocono, which is tough. Pit road, he made it back up, led 11 laps. That added to my excitement of the race. Strategy was there, tires, fuel. There was all kinds of different things that drivers had to do. So everything was there that I always wanted. That is usually an A race. And for me, it's Pocono, it's home track. I'm kind of just in awe of the whole weekend between the ARCA, the trucks, the Xfinity, and the Cup races. It was an A for me all around, I felt like. So there may or may not have been a little bit of bias involved in this one, but it was well worth it. And I think anybody that was there would have given that race an A, no doubt about it. And I think the reason I gave it an A2 was because of the Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin thing. Yeah. I love that we finally we talked about it. How many times do we talk about it in the last few weeks? Will Denny do something? Yeah. Will this be something that takes Chastain out and completely screws him? And, I was pumped to see that Denny actually did something. He retaliated. He shoved him into the wall. I was there. I saw it. It was at my track where he did retaliate. So that energy, that excitement was really what propelled it up to that A- that I did give it as a final grade.
So you said, how can you be there and not give it an A? I gave it a solid B. And for the pure fact that the Xfinity race ending was so good. That Xfinity race was an A+. That how can you give the Cup race a higher grade when you didn't have that battle till the end, But I thought it was a great race in person. I watched it again on television today, and I thought it was a great race on TV too. People that really love to dog on Pocono, I thought front to back, the whole broadcast was great. They did a great job explaining all the different varying strategies and all that stuff. And there was a lot of different strategies going on. The crowd was phenomenal. The energy all day was great. We saw Denny Hamlin get that bit of revenge. We saw great battles throughout the field. So many different pit strategies. If we didn't see that insane battle in the Xfinity race the day before, I would have given it an A. But because I got spoiled a little bit by just that pure racing to the finish race the day before, I had to take a step back and go, it's probably it's a B+. I'm giving it a B+.
Right, and that's where I agreed there. But since Chastain paid back and since that happened at the end,
storyline, it elevates it so much.
To me, that elevated it to just oh hell yeah.
I think what tarnishes a little bit too is the disqualification though. Right. Also, that brings it down a little bit because I was shitting on Denny a couple weeks ago. Like, yeah, I don't really like Denny Hamlin. I got really pumped that he won, which I was more pissed that I didn't bet on him to win, because this is like the third time I've seen Denny Hamlin. No, this is the fourth time I've seen Denny Hamlin win in person. I've only been to like 7 races, maybe. Like it's getting insane at this point. If you want Denny Hamlin to win, get me some plane tickets and some NASCAR tickets. I'll come to any track, and I guarantee the luck will be on his side that weekend. How about you, Matt? What was your race grade?
One thing before I give my grade is thank God NBC covered the Pocono race with all the strategy.
Tell us.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine Fox would fuck that up so bad.
They fucked up the truck race. They switched to commercials in the middle of a pass for the lead.
There was a pass for the lead, and they literally went to commercial. We're not getting into it. We've been on a roll the past couple weeks.
Done.
Yeah,
we've been on a roll the past couple weeks of not mentioning that other broadcast. So just whatever. All right. So my grade is I'm going to cut you guys right in the middle. A solid B+ race. I have stats to back up what I'm about to say.
Okay.
And I know this is going to come off as bias. I would like to believe that I would say this even if this wasn't our home track. Pocono is the most underrated / underappreciated track that we have on the circuit.
I think so too.
We had a ton of passing, which is great to see at a track like Pocono that seems to have a bad reputation for no passing.
Everyone's like, oh, it gets strung out,
Yeah, well, that's not true. And a stat from NASCAR Man on Twitter, I like to source these stats where I find them. The race average, this Pocono race averaged 25.8 passes per every green flag lap. Excluding Daytona and Talladega, that's the most passes per lap for any oval race since August of 2015.
Yeah.
Do you know what race that was? Also Pocono.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Oh, hell yeah.
Pocono gets a lot of passes. It gets, for whatever reason, it gets shit on. I don't know if it's because you have to be there to enjoy it, but that's not even the case, because I wasn't there this weekend, and I enjoyed the shit out of that race.
I think because it gets strung out where, like, the leader could be, 7 car lengths in front of second place, which normally, like, I don't like either. I'll complain about that at 1.5 miles all day long. But I treat Pocono as more of a road course style race where you have the pit strategies, you have all those different strategies. So, like, even though the leader might get strung out, you might have another guy on a different strategy, and then the pit cycle, and then it flips everything upside down. That's the excitement for me. And I think that's the excitement for you guys too.
Yeah, besides the passing, we also had the incredible battles for the lead, the wild restarts that you guys said. I know Pocono is known for that. They fan out 9-10 wide. Yeah.
Well, so I wanted to bring that up during the passing stat. That is what helps contribute to those high passing numbers, because it's all the loop data. It's all those cars going 4 or 5 wide and like just going back and forth real quick. But still, like, what other track are you getting that at? No other track. No other track. It's amazing. And then they all come together without like smashing into each other for turn 1, which is incredibly difficult. Like, it blows my mind.
If you've never seen a race at Pocono, that front stretch, like they said, I saw a stat that you can't do it, but it's close where you can almost land like a Boeing 757 on that front stretch. Yeah. That's how wide it is.
They used to land like Lear jets down on the track back in the day, yeah.
So that's how wide it is. It's the longest front stretch in NASCAR, and then coming into turn 1, it's almost like a pinhole. Like, it skinnies out and then like it's banked, and it's an insane, like, what they do to get down into turn 1 and not destroy the entire field is just unbelievable. And it's amazing. And the track is like I said, it's underrated. I can go on and on about that. But other than that, we saw the different strategies play out. That's the other thing that makes Pocono so great, is that it turns into a strategy race almost immediately. In that race on Sunday, it turned into a strategy race. You saw guys on some wild strategies. I was texting you guys, keeping you guys in the loop, what was going on with the different strategies, because I know at the track sometimes it's hard to keep up with everything. That added to my excitement because even if you guys already knew the strategies, I felt like I was informing you guys. So that, everything that race, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And again, I think this weekend, if NASCAR was thinking about putting Pocono on the cutting block, the racing and the fans combined forced NASCAR to double think themselves there.
I tell you what, so I have a checkers written down, but I actually might have to give you, Matt, my checkers for the weekend for keeping me updated with all that stuff, especially for fantasy this week, because I was noticing that Bubba Wallace was coming into the pits before anyone else. I'm like, Matt, what's going on with Bubba's pit strategy? Like, what are they trying to do here? And they're trying to like flip stage 3 upside down compared to everyone else. And you're like, it could either work really well or blow up in their face. And I had Bubba in my lineup. I had Denny in my garage. And then I had Kyle Busch in there. And I go, you want to what? I'm putting my faith in Bubba this week, right? And I thought it was a bad move at the end. But it ended up saving me because after everyone got disqualified, all the new stats are retabulated. Everybody in our fantasy league played Kyle Busch this week. So that was null and void for everybody. Everybody got 1 point. I would have put Denny Hamlin in and gotten 2 points. Instead, I had Bubba Wallace that got me a solid top 10 finish, got me some stage points and stuff, and I still won the fantasy weekend. So I appreciate you, buddy, because I was on the fence. I was looking at your text messages, trying to figure out what to do with my fantasy lineup, and it ended up working well in the long run for me. So you, my friend,
I'll tell you what,
get
Denny,
the checkers
Denny
this week.
screwed me. I came in second this week in fantasy to White Man here, and the Chastain, because I did have Kyle Busch in there, but the Chastain thing killed me too. So if Chastain doesn't get taken out, I think, take that win. So great fantasy for both of us this week.
Oh yeah, it was a fun battle. But speaking of checkers and records, Matt, how about you give us our checkers and records for the weekend?
I will do that. So before I get into it, I'm not making this my checkers because I'm a Chase Elliott fan. We already kind of talked about this earlier, but my checkers goes to NASCAR for actually making the right call to disqualify Denny and Kyle.
Yeah.
It had to have been a heart in the throat moment for the officials when they discovered the tape on the nose of that car. They probably could have looked past it and gave JGR warnings to never do it again. Don't ever bring the car back to a track like this again.
Yeah.
But they made the hard and, in my opinion, correct call in disqualifying them.
Yeah.
They made it very clear before the season started that these cars were not to be tampered with, and they sent the message this weekend that they were serious about that. So I applaud NASCAR for sticking to their guns, and they warned everyone, and here we are.
No, I agree. We talked about it earlier in the show. I didn't know that was going to be your checkers, so I apologize for stepping on your toes there. But I'm 100% in agreement there. I'd rather see a message sent than being lenient, and then it shows a weakness in the sanctioning body. It shows that the rule book really doesn't matter.
Right.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. How about your records for the weekend?
I agree. So my records, Whitey, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna need your the tinfoil hat for this one.
All right, let me grab it real quick.
So my records goes to, there it is, perfect. Thank you. My records goes to Ty Dillon.
Okay.
He spun out while his petty GMS teammate Eric Jones was leading.
Oh, you want to know what? I thought you said Ty Gibbs. No, for real. Ty Dillon, what? Get it together, brother.
Ty Dillon.
I almost fell off my truck when that happened.
Together. So he spun out while his petty GMS teammate Eric Jones was leading, and at that point was on a race-winning strategy. At least I thought he was.
Yep.
The only thing they didn't need Eric Jones in that 43 team was a caution, and Ty Dillon spins. Here's why I needed that tinfoil hat that you're wearing, Whitey. Ty just got new tires on that car just a couple laps before he spun, which means that grip wasn't a problem.
Oh, they could have been cold, though.
I don't care. I'm saying he did it on purpose because GMS Petty essentially fired his ass last week.
Yeah.
And he knew what the situation was with Eric Jones and the the strategy that he was on. And I know this is reckless. I know it's reckless for me to say. It's only my speculation. I'm kind of doing it half tongue-in-cheek kind of deal. But I think Ty Dillon spun his ass on purpose to screw over his teammate Eric Jones.
And you know what? His scumbag brother almost ruined Tyler Reddick's day too.
It's true, and that was a week after he fucking he announced that he was leaving RCR. Fuck those Dillon brothers, man.
Fuck the Dillon brothers, That is not where I meant to take this. Not where I meant to take this.
No,
you went there, Matt. You went there.
This is on me.
You brought this on yourself, Matt. No, my whole thing with saying it could have been cold tires, though. Cold tires do have less grip, and sometimes you head into turn 3. We saw a lot of people spin in turn 3. I don't know, but you know what? He did just get fired. If I was getting fired from a team that my teammates been outperforming me week in and week out ever since the season started, I'd be a little bitter too. I might, you know, I might scratch that arm a little bit, you know.
At that moment, I knew it wasn't the win was out of the question. I'm like, okay, top 10. Just, you know what I mean? At that point, you're like, you're done. You're not going to get that back, those positions. So, like, fight for a top 10. And he got it, you know, thank God. It actually benefited me, too, the DQs, because he actually finished P11. He got bumped up to P9.
Nice.
So
a little extra points there at the end of the day. How about you, Eric? What's your checkers and records for the weekend?
So my checkers just goes to the crowd. I know we touched on it. I won't nail it, you know, go into depths, but Adam Stern tweeted, Pocono on Sunday had its best attendance for a NASCAR race since 2010, and including a new all-time track record for camping and fully sold out suites. So, hey, NASCAR, listen up. You told us you want to keep your racetracks. You show up. We showed up at the Pocono Mountains for every single race. The ARCA race, the truck race, the Xfinity Racing Cup. There were people in those grandstands and camping from Thursday night all the way through. And guess what? They made it over to the grandstands to watch the race. They showed up to make the grandstands look full and packed. And I'll tell you what, I remember I texted Matt. I said, hey, how the hell does this look on TV? Because being there, it was by far the most people that I've ever been a part of. And that was the vibe going around. Everyone was like, dude, I've never seen this many people here. And to get that validation today, reading that tweet, that it was the most crowded and attended NASCAR race at Pocono, man, did I feel that vibe all weekend. So I was very impressed by everybody that came out to support NASCAR in our area.
It was the same. We were all at Dover. It was the same at Dover. It looked like it. We weren't at New Hampshire last week, but it looked like a great crowd in New Hampshire. The Northeast is telling NASCAR, we belong with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just great to see.
No, for sure. And speaking of this packed grandstands, it reminded me of a story. So me, Shredder, and my girlfriend, we all had spots right behind the flag stand. So like we were right on the start finish line, and I looked around. There was only 2 empty seats in like 4 sections. Like there was no empty seats. There was 2 right in front of me, and that was it. It was amazing. And then at one point, you know how they have like the camera people that go through and they'll do like interviews for like the TVs, not NBC TV, but like the TVs at the track, where it's like, hey, this veteran's here celebrating, and like, you know, everyone give him a clap, one of those deals. There was a guy who came from Michigan. Shredder actually talked to him in line beforehand. He comes to Pocono every year from Michigan. He goes, Michigan's in my home state. It's not my home track. Pocono's my home track. I come here every year. And he proposed to his girlfriend at Pocono during one of the stage breaks. So like, yeah. So like, it was like a couple rows over. We saw like an engagement happen, and
they say romance is dead.
Exactly. You know, and that's just the kind of great stories you get in the Pocono Mountains. You know, it used to be a huge honeymoon destination back in the day. Get a little Pocono love potion in you, you know, and he was just feeling those vibes. But how about your wreckers, Eric? What was your wreckers for the weekend?
Well, speaking of that, where you were talking about you, Shredder and Bree, where you guys were sitting, I was up on the top of my truck and watching, I could see from the top of my truck, I could see the exit of turn 1, the whole backstretch, and all of turn 2. And then right when I turn to follow him and I lose him coming out of 2, where we camp in the infield, we're right by the big mega screen.
Yeah.
So like you're at the drive-in, it was right there. So I would catch the TV as I'm spinning. I kept spinning on my truck as I'm going around watching it. And so the one, I don't know if it was a caution or something going on, and they had one of those TV guys come by you, and lo and behold, my cousin Shredder, right on the broadcast, they zoomed right into Ricky with his Happy Harvick tie-dye shirt on, yelling into the TV. So Ricky made the broadcast.
Oh, yeah, I was right behind him. I remember that. They came over to the other side, yeah. I didn't realize why he was freaking out at first, and I saw the camera. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, so y'all made the broadcast, so I thought that was pretty cool there.
And for the second year in a row, our group made the local WNEP news for the second year in a row. We got interviewed.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And another news station, channel 69 from Harrisburg or Allentown or something like that.
It's Lehigh Valley. It's WFEZ or something like that. Yeah.
They know what crew to stop by and interview. But speaking of that, I mean, my records, 361 more days till the next Pocono, man. It's over. My records is that Pocono weekend's over, and I'm home. I'm sitting here, and I'm sitting in my own wounds. I'm getting all back to health, but I would do it all over again, and that's what's upsetting about only having one race. Normally, right now, I'm like, in another month, I get to go do it all again, And so knowing that we only have the one race, my checkers, I'm pumped we showed out. My wreckers, I'm sad that it's over because it was epic. And, everything, I couldn't, honest to God, find something to wreck about this weekend. I had such a good time, and I'm sad that it's all over.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. Today was deflating being at work after being off for 5 days. It's just like, man, this sucks. Like, I don't know. We got no racing left except on TV. Maybe we'll have to head up to New York or down to Richmond. I don't know. But my checkers, I already kind of mentioned it. That Xfinity race finish, man. Noah Gregson just had near perfect run at the end there. He made one mistake in turn 3. Ty capitalized on it, but then Ty wiggled and Noah took advantage of it. Just like two really good hard-nosed racers, and just a great race. Definitely earned some respect for Ty Gibbs during that one. He could have flat out wrecked him, and he didn't. I think he really grew over the last couple months. A lot of people have been being critical of him, and it sounds like he's listening and paying attention. So hopefully just good things from here on out from him. And my wreckers, it was a cool part of the race when Denny got into Ross Chastain. Really didn't even wreck him, just kind of pushed him up, and it was Ross's, decision to lift or not, and he didn't lift, and he got put into a wall. My wreckers, though, just Kevin Harvick getting caught up in it. It just sucks because Harvick didn't qualify really well, and he just was working on that car all day long, drove his way up into the top 5, and got taken out in 4th place, and just got fucked in the end. I just thought it was real unfortunate for Harvick. Felt bad for Stray in his Happy Harvick tie-dye sitting next to me. He was all deflated and stuff. We were excited to see the Ross Chastain drama play out, and then he was instantly deflated because Harvick got caught up in it. Just one of those unfortunate things because, Harvick had nothing to do with any of that drama for months now, and he's just a victim of it. But, man, what a fucking storyline out of Pocono. I wonder... do you guys think it's over? Do you think the Ross Chastain Denny Hamlin beef is over? Do you think we see it continue?
Nope. Yeah, Ross got him into him more than just one time, and like you said, Whitey, that wasn't a deliberate. I'm gonna smash and take your bumper and put you into the wall. Yeah, that was I'm gonna run you up. I'm gonna not give you room, and either like you said, either you lift or you don't. If he lifted, he wouldn't have crashed there. No. 100% wouldn't have crashed. So. I think it's still on the horizon, and don't forget, it's not just Denny that has problems.
A lot of people do. No,
they asked Ross when he got out of the infield care center, they asked him a couple questions and then they talked about it. And then they even asked him, they're like, do you think this is over? And he just looks at him and he starts laughing. He goes,
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I don't know.
That's the perfect answer though. Cause like he's out there from this point forward. He's just looking over his shoulder every minute,
He even has to look over his shoulder at the food line for Eric Almirola, But yeah, just a great race weekend. I got a couple notes we didn't touch on. Ty Gibbs made his Cup debut, like
Phenomenal.
we said, for missing with Kurt Busch missing for the concussion protocols. Finished a respectable 16th place after spending a lot of day in the back just figuring things out. I thought that was really respectable of him.
The most impressive part of that is that he kept it clean.
He really did, and like the whole going into it, he's like, I just don't want to make waves or anything,
And he didn't. He had a clean race.
And you want to know what? It was the same thing for Noah Gregson, also racing in the Cup Series. He's like, I just want to finish and not have my name really set on TV, kind of. Christopher Bell led 14 laps. He finished 4th. I thought he had a good day. Larson led 18 laps. He finished 5th, had a good day. Of course, this is after disqualification. Eric Jones led 11 laps, finished 9th, had a solid day after starting in the back because of those penalties thrown out. Ross Chastain led 16 laps. He got wrecked out. Blaney led 7 laps. He got wrecked out. Denny Hamlin won, leading 21 laps, DQ'd, and Kyle Busch led 63 laps. He also got disqualified. Not a whole lot in the field that I could think to talk about. Was there anything else that you guys noticed from anyone on Sunday that you want to bring up?
We covered everything.
Yeah, not really. I mean,
everything that mattered out of that race.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, then let's just jump into the last place. So everyone, every NASCAR show loves to talk about the winner, technically Chase Elliott this week, but we like to talk about the loser, and technically it is Kyle Busch this week, but really it was Josh Bilicki, because Bilicki had a mechanical failure end his day after taking a really big hit. Still not sure what broke on that car, but something definitely broke, because he was just coming out of turn 3. I think it was turn 3. And then all of a sudden it looked like his car just jackknifed right into the wall. Really bad day for that Spire 77. Bad day for Corey LaJoie in the Spire 7. Just a rough go of it for those guys in this weekend. But that's all I have for the race weekend. Let's jump into the pick-a lanes. I got a couple here. We'll try to rattle through them really quick. I give you a topic. We kind of go back and forth. You get to choose the lane you take on the debate. Something we missed last week, and this is courtesy of a friend of the show, Charles Warner, on YouTube comments. Did NASCAR make the right call with Christopher Bell when he lost that tire after Atlanta? What do you guys think about that Atlanta call? Because, of course, he did win the next week at New Hampshire. What do you guys think about that?
No, they didn't make the right call. If a wheel comes off, a wheel comes off. It can't be gray. It's got to be black and white. There should have been a penalty there. There wasn't. And, whether him winning the next week was a byproduct of not getting a penalty or not, that's up for debate. That's up for discussion. If you want to have that one, we can. But I just think that if you're going to be hitting everyone else with a penalty, there can't be context. Did the wheel come off? Was it out of his pit stall? Yes. Okay. It's a penalty.
Yeah.
And whether it shouldn't be that he was going 10 miles an hour and there was no one on pit road. It shouldn't be there shouldn't be any nuance in it. It's either did the wheel come off or did it not?
Yeah.
And it did, then it should be a penalty.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything Matt said. Wheel comes off. That's it. Plain and simple. Whitey, you said it earlier. You like that NASCAR is sticking to their guns with stuff. Well, in this one, they didn't stick with their guns. It was weird that they changed this call when they didn't stick with their guns. And like, maybe they did hear some backlash from not sticking with their guns. And that's why they did go through with this DQ and said, you know what? We're going to penalize the 42 and 43. We're going to penalize the 34. And you know what I mean? Like they didn't in that situation stick to their guns. And it did irritate me a little bit. And then, you go ahead and the 20 car wins next week. So, yeah, tire comes off. penalty.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't like the gray area now that they've set the precedent for.
Right. Can't have that.
I understand NASCAR's position where it's like, oh, well, no, it was on pit road. It was like,
Don't care. There shouldn't be nuance
exactly.
with it. It's a rule. If it's a rule, it's a rule.
The only nuance and wiggle room I could see in the wheel coming off rule is if it didn't leave the pit box. And the car didn't leave the pit box.
Jumping on Kurt Busch's car.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, stop. If it doesn't leave the pit box, then there should be no penalty. I could agree with that.
But once that wheel leaves the pit box, that's a penalty, you know?
Right. No matter what.
Yeah.
Like, if anything goes out of there, it's a penalty.
Yeah, it's an uncontrolled tire at that point, you know? And I know they messed with the uncontrolled tire rule last year, too, because they were handing out too many. And then they made a judgment call where it's like, well, if it goes slightly outside the box, it's not a big deal as long as it gets grabbed by a pit crew member. But still, like, that thing was rolling down pit road. God forbid someone hit that with their car. It's punting it right into another pit crew. Like, I didn't like the call. I don't like leaving the wiggle room unless it is in the pit box. So I agree with you guys there. I feel like
that wheel don't wiggle. It rolls.
Rolls, exactly. Let's see. Choose Cone.
That was a good one.
That was a really good one. Choose Cone is out. Speaking of good ones, this one also came from Matt. He threw this one out. He wanted to know, do we like the changing schedule every year, or would you like to see some more consistency for fans so we can make long-term plans to attend races? Now, Matt, since this was your question that you came up with, I want to hear your answer first. What's your thoughts on this one?
So, yeah, when we were discussing this, you know, whatever it was last week in our private chat, in our private group chat, you know, I told you guys that I can make an argument for both ways. So I did. I made an argument for both ways in a kind of hybrid type deal. What I think NASCAR should do, a perfect medium. I think NASCAR should do a hybrid of both options of where I think NASCAR should do what they should do is lock in a schedule for 2 years.
Yeah.
After 2 years, it'll start to feel stale, right? Because forever we always had the same old plain Jane cookie cutter schedule for years and years and years. I could rattle off exactly which race was after the other.
Yeah.
And that's why and everyone, I'm sure all true NASCAR fans could. And that's why they started shaking the schedule up these past couple of years. But now it's at a point where they're shaking it up so much where it's kind of hard for people to make plans until that schedule is announced, especially the year like this year where we're coming into August next week and we still don't have a schedule for 2023.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if you put a schedule together for 2 years, that's what it is. You get 2 years out of that deal. That way, once it starts getting stale after that second year, you change it up. This also allows fans to plan accordingly for 2 years of races because no one's planning 3 years out, but 2 years maybe.
Yeah.
It allows those people who might get upset about, like I said, maybe their home track isn't on the schedule for this year and next year, but just wait 2 years. It might be back on the schedule.
Yeah.
And things like that. I think some sort of, there's a way to fix it. I don't know the logistics behind the contracts with the tracks and whatnot, how it would work that way. But, you know, taking the logistics out of it, I think that's a happy medium.
How about you, Eric? What do you think?
I like that. I'm in agreement with not changing it every year. That gets a little too crazy, like Matt said. And I think to like another happy medium for like the 2 years, like switching the tracks, like you said, you know, okay, Road America isn't going away. It might come back in rotation.
It'll be back in 2024, you know,
right.
Like something like
so
that.
What I thought when you proposed this was, why not have that racetrack go stagnant, and why not help grow our sport with the lower series? Have more standalone races for Xfinity and trucks at the races you're not currently going to in that year for the Cup.
Yeah.
So Road America, we get rid of Road America in the Cup schedule, but why not have a standalone for Xfinity and trucks there? Or like, let's say Pocono, granted, don't want it to happen. Let's say in 2 years, though, you know, they say, oh, Pocono's going away or you're going to get whatever. But you have for those 2 years, you still have the trucks and Xfinity coming back.
Yeah.
And then Cup's going to come back later on. I'd still go up and watch ARCA, Xfinity, and trucks any day of the week.
You would still raise hell just like it was a Cup weekend.
Right.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
ARCA, Xfinity, and trucks.
So I think you could make the fans happy in that area that they're not completely losing a race. And you could also have a good opportunity to grow that truck and Xfinity as its own entity as well. So you almost get two birds stoned at once.
Yeah, I thought so. I have my own kind of hybrid where you have it not change, but change it at the same time, where you have one race a month that stays the same every year. So Daytona obviously not moving. The next month you don't move Las Vegas. The next month you don't move that Bristol dirt race on Easter or whatever. In the summertime you don't move like the Indy date. And then all the races in between those handful of races, you shuffle them around. Maybe you have Pocono in July, and then the next year it's in June. And then, instead of having Dover in May, you have Dover in August. And you kind of mix all the ones in between, but then you get that sense of security with like, oh, but I know we're going to Indy in July. I know we're going to Watkins Glen in August. I know we're going to Daytona at the end of the season still, and then you kind of keep the playoffs the way they are. You know what I mean?
It's nice to have a little bit of consistency to be like, okay, there's this, and this.
Yeah.
What point of the season you're at going here. We're going to be going there. I like that too, where, like you said, like the July Daytona, the Firecracker 400, 4th of July, keep that a staple for a year or two. And you know what I mean? Maybe just change those around a little bit too. So you want to keep the tracks the same for a little bit, but shuffle them
and even like you said, like you make it so we have a concert venue here that we see a lot of the same artists come back every couple years. And because you haven't seen them in 5 years, you get excited to go see them again. They could do that with the Road America. They could do that with a Gateway. Right. They could do that with the Chicago Street Course, have the Chicago Street Course once every 4 years or something like that. You know what I mean? I think that would be a nice little hybrid schedule. And we're kind of seeing what I described in the playoffs. And I didn't even realize it until just now, where we took Richmond out of the playoffs and we moved Homestead in that spot. But all the cutoff races haven't changed. All the first races of the rounds haven't changed. It's that middle race in between that's kind of getting shuffled around. And I think that helps to liven up the playoffs. I think that'll make a difference that we didn't think about coming into the playoffs this year. So
yeah, and just one thing to wrap a bow on this too is for the championship race. Obviously with weather, you could only pick from a handful, maybe 3 or 4 different tracks on the circuit that they can run the championship race at, because it's late in October or early November rather. So, but instead of getting it stale, because we're all sick of the Phoenix race, being the championship race, maybe you only keep a championship race for 2 or 3 straight years. Then you switch it up to the next track.
Yeah.
Every 3 years, hey, listen, if you don't like the track that the championship is at now, just wait a couple years and it's going to change.
That reminded me, because I was going to be make it at Auto Club one year. And then I remembered I saw a piece of news. I forgot to add it in the news. So jumping back, breaking, but not really breaking. They actually just started dismantling some of the grandstands in Auto Club. It looks like they are going to be moving forward with a track reconfiguration. A lot of people are mad about it too, because we've been seeing fantastic racing out in California at Auto Club Speedway, but it also hasn't been paved at all. And it seems like a repave is not the way to go, because you're going to have to wait 10 years before we see that great racing come back. I think we
do need more short track races on the schedule. We need that.
My big thing is, though, let's finish the season at Homestead, Miami every year, no matter what. I love that track. I think it's the perfect track to end at. Just the vibe of it, just the way it looks with the green safer barriers. It feels special and cool.
Yeah. And you're in Miami. That's a great spot to have a championship.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then we have one last pick a lane. This has been a debate online all for the last 2 weeks. and I figured we would jump on it to choose cones out. I want to know, how many turns does Pocono have?
Not one, not two. Not speaking of Miami, when LeBron and them, the big three, did that whole thing when they got down there talking about how many championships they're going to win. Not one, not two, not three, not four. There are 5 turns at Pocono. And instead of you can still call it the tricky triangle because of its configuration.
Yeah.
But instead of 3 turns, it is actually 5 turns. And I know all 3 of us have I think all 3. I know me and Eric agree on this. I think Whitey agrees with this too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So do you want to tell the listening audience what, in case they missed what Ryan Vargas sent out? It was I'll pull it up and I'll put it up to my camera so you can see if you're watching on YouTube what we're talking about while Whitey describes it.
It's the perfect diagram because we know Pocono is an amalgamation of different famous tracks. Like the banking in turn 1 mimics one track. The banking in turn 2 mimics another track. The banking in turn 3 mimics another track. Well, the banking in turn 2 mimics turn 1 of Indy. Indy has 4 perfectly even turns, but they're spread out with that stretch in between. So really, turn 1 is turn 1 and 2. Turn 3 is just turn 3 because that mimics that Indy turn 1. And then turn 3 is actually turn 4 and 5. So what turn 4? Well, it's actually turn 3 according to you guys. So yeah, Pocono has 5 turns, and that's why you should treat it as a road course. I'm just saying. If you watch Pocono as a road course, you'll appreciate it a whole lot more than just as a regular track.
And they were shifting multiple times per turn too, just like at a road course.
Oh yeah. Gotta be careful of that tunnel turn. Anyways, speaking of road courses and Indianapolis, we're heading to Indy. Trucks are actually going to be at Lucas Oil Raceway Park for the T-Sport 200, 9 p.m. on FS1. And then across the street, we're going to the big race, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But we're on the road course for Xfinity for the Pennzoil 150 at the Brickyard Saturday, 3:30 on NBC. And then, of course, Cup on track for the Verizon 200 at the Brickyard Sunday, 2:30 on NBC. It's an early race this weekend, boys. Don't forget to get all your running around done early. Matt.
Yeah, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
Matt,
I need to get going because, as I stated this time last year, we here in the Reilly household take Shark Week very seriously.
Yes, yeah.
And it's on
it's
right
9
now.
o'clock
so
now.
I want to get out of here as much as the next guy, but I am not going to let you get away with that statement right there.
I thought I was going to be your checkers this week for consistency. Do you want to tell?
I got you out of there.
Do you want to tell the listeners at home what happened though?
Yeah. So real quick. I actually think I might still have it because yes, Whitey originally was my checkers this week. So I do. So Whitey was going to be my checkers because at 2:52, Whitey texted me, Matt, I'm sure you'll be shocked, but I'm going into the tunnel right now to go under the track. We'll see if I make green flag.
You know what? Here's the thing, though.
To the people, to everyone who's normal listener of our show, but to everyone who doesn't know, Whitey is notoriously late for absolutely everything he does. He's late every day to his own job. He doesn't know how to tell time.
I was 15 minutes late today. I know how to tell time. It's 9 o'clock on the dot now.
So Whitey was at the race. He was at the track, and he still almost missed green flag.
Can I tell you the truth about that text message? I wasn't even near the tunnel. I was actually at our campsite. I just said the tunnel to make it sound better. that I was closer than I was.
Whitey, you're going to be my checkers because of the consistency, brother.
Yeah.
I don't care where you're at, what you have to do. You're always consistent with being late. So I actually respect it.
Here's the thing. I didn't know they moved up the green flag time to 3:05. I was playing for a 3:20 green flag. So I'm like, oh, we got plenty of time. And then all of a sudden, like, we're walking over and the flyover is happening and they're singing the national anthem. I'm still at the campsite. I go, oh no, we got to get through this tunnel. Shrey was already at our seats for like an hour at this point. I'm like, yeah, I'll get there when I get there. But I did.
Because he's responsible and on time.
But I made it. I made it to our seats as they were pulling off of pit road, so there's no issues there. I saw the green flag fly in person from behind the spotter stand, so we're all good there. But all
right, Shark Week. Let's get into the gambling segment for these listeners.
All right, let's try to make some money at the Indy Road Course. To sum up our picks from last week, Matt, you picked Ross Chastain. I didn't think retaliation would happen at Pocono because of the speeds, but it did. You came in last. He got you 15 points because Denny put him into the wall. I picked Martin Truex Jr. I thought he was going to have a better day. I should have picked the other Toyota drivers. He got me 35 points. And Eric, you won this week. You picked Kyle Larson, and he got you 45 points. So, Matt, you get to pick first. I pick second. Eric picks last for Indy. But first, Matt, give us those stats we need. Give us the lines going into Indy, at least on Tuesday night.
Yep, Eric, you also you ate away at my lead. And
I know. I got you by 3. I got you by 3.
With the points, as if you care or not, Eric has 662 points on the year. I am in second right now at 659, so I'm just 3 points behind him. And then Whitey is at 606. So a couple good races out of him, and he's right back in it too. So
I picked 3 winners this year that got completely wrecked out. Byron at Daytona, MTJ at Phoenix, and Byron at Nashville. I just can't pick William Byron anymore, honestly.
That's it. So, all right, like I always do, I give the top 10 in favorites to win this upcoming week. These lines are provided by DraftKings. We're at the Indy Road Course. So we'll go from the 10th down to first, like I always do. So the 10th favorite to win at this race, we've actually got a 4-way tie. Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, and Chase Briscoe all at plus 1,600. I love those odds for all 4 of those guys. You've got Daniel Suarez and Austin Cindric both tied at plus 1,200 to win the race. You've got Tyler Reddick at plus 1,000 to win the race. And then your top 3 favorites to win at the Indy Road Course this weekend, Ross Chastain plus 700. Just barely more of a favorite than him is Kyle Larson at a plus 650. And then, of course, until something changes, your road course ace, Chase Elliott, is plus 400 to go back-to-back at on the schedule this year.
All right, Matt, who are you picking this week?
So I am going with a guy who I just mentioned, Chase Elliott, as a road course ace. We've got another guy that's brewing to become a road course ace himself. Now, he finished 24th at COTA, so that's not impressive. But he won at Sonoma. Road America, he came in 5th. Mi amigo, Daniel Suarez, I've been super impressed with him. He's been super consistent. He's going to get his second career win and his second season win here at the Indy Road Course. Daniel Suarez.
If he does, I'll be wearing my brand new Daniel Suarez t-shirt on the podcast, courtesy of Shredder. We did our t-shirt swap again this year. He got me a Daniel Suarez shirt. I'm very excited to win, to wear it on his next win. Hopefully it comes this weekend. I'm taking that low-hanging fruit, though. I'm taking the road course king. He's been running super consistent lately. Finished 3rd at Pocono and then got the win. Finished, what was it? 2nd last week. 1st, 2nd, 1st. I'm going with Chase Elliott. He's on fire right now, and I don't see things changing anytime soon.
Coming off of that hard-earned victory at Pocono, I don't blame you.
Yeah. How about you, Eric? Who are you picking for the Indy Road Course?
Well, he's been kind of quiet. He is a low-key great road course racer. He needs to get his shit together here. And, I'm going to pick this one for my buddy who is going to see his driver win this year, and that is the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. So, Colin, I'm rooting for your guy this week, buddy. I think Martin Truex Jr. gets it done. We'll
see if he gets it done. If he's got one of those cheated up Yoders going on But no, I think those are all great picks in general for the road courses. Matt, how about the head-to-heads? Do you have any head-to-heads this week?
I do have the head-to-heads real quick. So we will start things off with another road course ace. We got AJ Allmendinger at a -120 in this head-to-head against Denny Hamlin, who's a +100. I'm personally staying away from JGR and the Toyotas. They just got caught with what maybe could have been a big advantage for them. I'm going with AJ Allmendinger on this head-to-head.
Dinger or Denny? Man, that's tough. Yeah, give me Denny. Give me Denny.
Yeah, give me Denny.
Next one, we've got another JGR driver, Christopher Bell and William Byron. They are deadlocked even. It's literally a coin flip according to DraftKings. They're both -110. Geez, again, I mean, it's really hard for me to go against Christopher Bell on a road course. He's a secret weapon on these road courses. William Byron really hasn't been doing anything, so I'm actually going to go against what I just said about staying away from JGR. I'm actually going to take Christopher Bell here.
I'm going to go with the 24 car. I think he needs to get a little bit momentum, a little bit of fire under his ass here moving into the playoffs. So I'm going to go 24. Slick Willie, 2 clocks.
Slick Willie, 2 clocks.
Man, I want to see Slick Willie 2 clocks in victory lane again, but man, he's just been so quiet. I agree with Matt. Give me Christopher Bell all day long.
And then, this is kind of awkward now. I wish I looked ahead because I did say I was staying away from JGR. Not only did I just immediately lie about it, but now I don't have a choice because this head-to-head is Kyle Busch versus Denny Hamlin, the 2 cheaters. DraftKings has Kyle Busch as the favorite in this one, -125 against Denny Hamlin's +105. God, I guess I'm taking Kyle Busch here.
I'm going Kyle Busch as well. I think he's gonna go out there. I almost picked him to win this race, to be honest with you, because he'd come out and say, "Listen, I didn't put that piece of tape there. I drove what car they made me to victory lane." And he usually comes back strong after a little bit of turmoil and shit like this. Like, I don't need that to win a race.
Yeah,
Kyle Busch.
I agree with you. I was actually if Matt picked Chase Elliott to win, I was going to go with Kyle Busch as my pick to win. So I'm going with Kyle Busch in this one too. And that's all we have for the heads, right?
Yep, that's it.
All right, Matt, then we could get you off to watch a little Shark Week this week. Well, what's the big show tonight? What's going on tonight on Shark Week?
It was either last night or tonight. So we've just been recording them and watching them as we want to. So the first night was another Jackass like they did last year. So that was really good. There was a really good documentary style about this guy who pretty much got like a shark, like an actual like shark specialist who pretty much got attacked by a great white and then got like PTSD from it and everything like that. And it was a really good documentary style. I'm telling you real quick, Shark Week is back.
Okay.
Discovery has put all the resources into it this year. They have an Air Jaws, which I think is the one we're going to watch tonight. That's goes along the theme of like Top Gun. I guess they're going to incorporate that because that's the big movie of the
blockbuster.
So, yeah, I don't know which one we're going to watch. Steph probably has it queued up, ready to go right now. But, yeah, Shark Week, big deal for us.
All right, so not only is Pocono back, baby, Shark Week is back. We are Prime in the 2000s all over again. Speaking of Prime, we got 21 races in, 14 different winners. Cindric, Larson, Bowman, Briscoe, Byron, Chastain, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, Daniel Suarez, Tyler Reddick, and Christopher Bell all locked themselves into the playoffs right now. We will see if Daniel Suarez can get his second win of the season and of his career. We could see if Martin Truex Jr. can lock himself into the playoffs finally and get himself off that bubble. Or will we see the road course king return to victory lane and Chase Elliott get another win after a long stretch of great runs the last couple weeks? We'll find out this Sunday, 2:30 on NBC for the Verizon 200 at the Brickyard, and we'll break it all down for you right here Monday night on the Bump and Run podcast. For Matt the Statman Reilly, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night.
The Bump and Run.
There it is.